Okay, let's talk some business here. This is Nathan Ronen, CFA, with an update for all Level 1, Level 2, and Level 3 candidates who are taking their CFA exams whenever it may be. Hopefully this will be a timely video for you to come back to. This question deals with, hey Nathan, how do I balance everything in my life, my work, my education, the CFA program, my family, how do I balance all of this? Any advice? Well, if you're interested in this kind of topic, please press the subscribe button and the notifications button right now, because that's what I'm going to address. Well, first of all, if you're contemplating entering the CFA program, or if you're a Level 1, Level 2, or Level 3 candidate, I don't think I'm the first person to tell you this, but there is a time commitment involved. How many hours? I don't want to really give you a number because everybody's different. I mean, I know there's an official number out there that people think is official, but it's really not. It's 300 hours, but I mean, it could be less than that, it could be more than that, or it could be exactly 300 hours, depending on many factors. But the question of, hey Nathan, how do I balance my life between working a full-time job, having a family, or not even having a family, or having a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever, and and demands on my time, and wanting to have a social life? How did you do it as a candidate, or how do you recommend doing it? Because I just feel swamped. I don't know if I can take on the CFA program. I don't know if I want to continue doing the CFA program. What do you say? Well, first of all, to be honest with you, I'm a prep provider. I'm here to help people pass their exam who are motivated, geared, and focusing on getting the CFA charter. That's actually my profession. That's my job right now. Good. Okay, I'm not a therapist, okay? I don't want to play therapist. And I don't mean that in a condescending way at all. All I'm just saying is, people's personal lives and what they do in their personal lives, I really can't, in most cases, get truly involved in. And I think if you were working in an environment and people were coming to you with all their personal issues, personal problems, you might try to help them out in the beginning, but you would find it overwhelming. And that's sometimes how I feel. But I do feel I have an obligation to my candidates because they are people, they're reaching out, they want help, they want advice, they respect my experience, my wisdom, my advice, and that's fine. So I'm going to try to do that a little bit here. And what I'm going to say to you is, the most important thing to do when you're undertaking any task is not overcommitting. Overcommitting just leads to disaster, unnecessary stress, failure, and disappointment. So when you're undertaking the CFA program, it shouldn't be because, I just looked at a whole bunch of LinkedIn posts or Reddit, subreddit advice about it, or everybody in my office is going for it, so this is for me too. Or I'm kind of like, keeping up with the Joneses, as we say, keeping up with the neighbors, trying to do whatever they're doing and even, more. That's not really the way to look at it. You need to see, number one, do you have the time for it? You don't have the time for it? Well, maybe you'll have the time for it in the future. Can you make the time for it? That's another factor. So only you know whether you really have the time. But when I say have the time, I don't mean squeeze it in there, stress yourself out to the maximum. What I'm basically saying to you is the CFA exam takes time, in the sense that if you're working a full-time job, you're going to have to spend weekends and you're going to have to spend hours during the work week dedicating yourself to learning the curriculum. Now, I know you're going to say, are there shorter ways to do this? Can I just buy, XYZ companies' prep notes, or your videos, or your lectures, or your mock exams? Those are all tools to facilitate the process, but they don't really completely annihilate the fact that you need to put in time. So you need to put in time. Now, how much time is it? That's going to depend on a lot of factors. I tell people this all the time, and it's what I do in my study plan sessions when I do them one-on-one. Are you married? Are you single? Are you divorced? Are you 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old? Do you have a business background, or you don't have a business background? Do you have a finance background? You don't have a finance background? Are you a social media, animal that you need to be on social media all the time and you get easily distracted by that? Or does social media not play a point that you don't need to be on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat all the time? It's another factor. Is English your first language or your second language? That's going to affect how you can get through some of the readings or the materials. Okay. Do you have a full-time job? Are you not working? Are you part-time working right now? Are your weekends free? Do you have a big so a lot of factors get into play, when you're trying to decide, how many hours you have to spend. Okay? And these are some of the factors, because obviously somebody who, is working and not working can spend different amounts of time studying for the exam. Same thing with somebody who has a business background, finance background, somebody who doesn't have a business or finance background. So a lot of this is going to take account. But the question is, how do I balance all this? Well, the way to balance it is by not over-committing and not saying, hey, today's, January 23rd, I think I'm going to sit for the May exam immediately. Because I want to know that if I don't pass the May exam, I can take it again in November. That's really not the way to target this. Maybe you should be more realistic and say to yourselves, well, what kind of commitments do I have? I could fit the CFA program in, but I'm hearing that it's at least 300 hours or so, if not more. Can I put in that kind of time? Maybe I shouldn't be targeting May. Maybe I should be targeting August or November if I'm a level 1 or a level 2 candidate. Or now is January, maybe I should be targeting August for level 3. Maybe you need more time because you got so many commitments and so many things that you're taking care of. These are important things to balance. Remember, you can't tell your wife, hey, put the family on hold while I study for my level 1 exam. That's going to lead to other kinds of problems, but we don't need to get into that here. Or to tell your husband that. That's not going to generally, or it's now the kids are all your responsibility while I'm studying for my CFA exam. That's not going to really work in most relationships, okay? And I'm not a, therapist on relationships, but I could tell you from personal experience that's probably not going to work with most, couples or most families. Also, I think it's very important to understand that there may have been a lot of time that transpired, or not a lot of time that transpired since you graduated from college. So some topics may be fresh or not fresh. Got to take that into account. So what I'm saying to you is the way to balance this out is by definitely giving yourself a good amount of time before your exam dates to be able to sit down and do the CFA curriculum, use any kind of prep materials that you want to use to supplement it, do enough kinds of mock exams or practice questions and the like. And I think that you'll find that you can breathe easier than trying to just choose the next target date because you're trying to save a couple of dollars, or choosing one because it's $300 less on the on their early bird special. I mean, that should not be the way you trigger your decisions. I realize money is an object, but you can't always why save $300 if you're going to fail? I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, the cost of retaking the exam, your time, and the registration fee a second time, it's going to be more than $300 difference. So keep that in mind when you're making these decisions. Now, one of the things I do is I always get together with people, and they join my program, and then I sit down with them on Zoom, and I will lay out a study plan with them, and then we will together choose what is the best target exam date for them. So before you pull the lever and say May or August, why don't you have somebody who really cares and wants to make sure you pass? Choose to do one of the packages that I have at level 1, 2, or 3. Let's sit down, do a Zoom session, and then together we can determine what's the best date for you to take the exam so that you're not stressed out, that you're able to maintain that balance in life between your personal and your professional life and your family life, obviously, and not create a situation where you're suddenly going to panic a month before the exam and say, should I defer it? Okay, I'll just pay CFA Institute their extra $400 to defer it because I didn't plan for this properly. So that's what I would suggest to you. If you're interested, take a look at my website at chalkandboard.org. That's CHALK and AND, board, BOARD, chalkandboard.org. And I promise you one thing, we're going to find out the right date for you to take the exam. We're going to make this so it's digestible and that you're not stressed out. Have a great day, and that's the way to balance your life when it comes to the CFA exam.